Right then, how are we all doing? Hope you're all enjoying this lovely hot weather. Anyway, so first things first, you can hit the like and subscribe button if you want to. It's an option, it's there. So this is the new DJI Avatar, and the 3 ways you can fly it in the UK. There are 3 sets of rules that you can choose to fly under with a DJI Avatar. So we're going to start with the most basic version. So the most basic version is we can fly this in the A3 open category, far from people. So this just basically means you need your operator ID and your flyer ID and go into the open countryside, far from people, and you can fly your DJI Avatar. Brilliant, that's nice and simple. The second way we can now fly it, and you want to fly in recreational areas, for example, you could use Article 16. You will have to be a BMFA or FPV UK member. Their links will be in the description. But the great news is joining one of these also gets you the insurance as well. Both are slightly different on insurance levels, but check their websites out and you can make a decision there, or see the insurance video. Now, Article 16 is 15 meters for takeoff and landing and 30 meters in flight, recreational flying, and that's great. That's nice, and that opens up recreational areas to you. Of course, just got to keep those separation distances from uninvolved people. And that's nice and easy. Now, the best way to fly the Avatar from DJI will be with an A2 CofC. Holy crap, the A2 CofC suddenly became useful. The shock, the horror of it all. Yes, so you actually need an A2 CofC if you're going to fly the Avatar in this format. So if you fly the DJI Avatar and you want to fly it in built-up areas, the only rule that will then become your main thing will be no intentional overflight of uninvolved people. So you won't be able to fly it down over a high street or cross a public footpath with people on it if you're going to deliberately overfly the people on it. And it will open up a lot of areas to anyone that wants this aircraft. It's actually the best way to fly it. So could you fly it out of your back garden? Technically, yes, you can. The only difference will be if your neighbours are in their garden, you do not intentionally overfly them. Or if you're flying across top of gardens, as you do your Mini 2, you do not deliberately overfly uninvolved people. That's the only difference if you have your A2 CofC and flying a normal Mini 2 with the sub 250 gram rule. It's actually the best way to fly the Avatar. There's no separation for your takeoff and landing, so literally you can put it on the floor in front of you, go straight up. It doesn't matter if someone's a metre away from you, the only rule is no intentional overflight of that uninvolved person. So this is all to do with the transitional weights. You can see it here, so we'll bring it up and you can see that a C1 transitional aircraft, if it weighs under, is it 600 grams or 500 grams? I'm going to go for the 500 grams because I can't remember. So much to remember now. But it's below the transitional weight because it's 402 grams or 420 grams, the Avatar. So it's under the transitional weight, which means you can then fly it with an A2 CofC in the A1 Transitional C1 classification. Does that confuse anyone? Although the C ratings are now kind of dead for the moment. Now, you're going to ask me, what about if you go to Europe? So if you're going to go to an EU country that's in the EASA system, you have 2 ways you can fly this. Actually, you may have one, actually, thinking about it. Ooh, his brain says. You may have to do a bit of checking, but there may be just one way you have to fly this, or two. So you've got the open category again. So you've got the A3 open category. So you've got your operator ID and flyer ID. You put that on the aircraft and you can fly far from people. That's fine. Now, the European transitional weights, I think you still need an A2 CofC because there's no A1 C1 rated aircraft yet. Although when you do your Luxembourg, it does state the A1, but there's no C1 aircraft. So I think it falls in the transitional weights. Double check me on this because there's nothing like me being wrong. It's bound to happen at some point. Oh wait, that's every day. So double check. But if you want your A2 CofC to be able to fly it, again, and you can go and check this, go to the link that I'll provide in the description. Go and do the Irish A2 CofC because that then gives you unlocked to fly through the whole of the EU with an A2 CofC. If needed, you can do the double check. And if I remember, it'll probably appear here if I've done the double check correctly and it'll tell us. So and that's it. And all's good. But the A2 CofC for the UK flyers just became useful. I don't believe it. I actually now have a use for my A2 CofC. That's right, I might get DJI Avata. Be interesting to see the other specs, but the only spec that I really cared about was its weight, to be honest. Because once you know its weight, you then can understand where you can fly it, what rule sets you need to fly it to. So yeah, it's all a bit crazy. But there's 3 different ways. In the open category, under Article 16, or with your A2 CofC. Each one has its separation limits, which you must understand as well, from what involved people. But basically, your A2 CofC for the win. If you want to fly it like you do a Mini 2 or 3, A2 CofC. The only difference being no intentional overflight. And what that means is if you fly out from yourself, and let's say you're down at the beach and you fly away from yourself and you've avoided people, and as you're coming back, and people go, what about the people? They're in the way, they're coming back. If you're returning home, if it's on automatic, it's automatic. You're not intentionally overflying because it's on auto return to home. There's nothing you can worry about. It's going to overfly those people. It wasn't intentional. It's just the auto return. Don't worry about it. The second part to that is if your battery is low and people are walking on the beach and you cannot go around them, but you're coming over at 20 meters, I would actually say for health and safety, actually, you don't want your drone landing away from you where you can't see it landing. If you can't walk to the other side of these people that are going to get in the way to intercept, and you can be on the other side of them, but your aircraft is going to come back to you, and you're flying it back manually, you just can't get beyond those people, and you can't stop and hover because your battery is too low, you're going to have to think about where you put it. Because you can't deliberately overfly them, and if your battery is that low you're concerned, you shouldn't be overflying them anyway, so you should just back it off and just watch where it lands. But try to avoid intentional overflight is the most important thing. Right, that's it. Take care everyone. Safe flying and enjoy the new DJI product when it comes out.